Okay guys, let's talk. I've been wanting to do this video for quite a while now. I've wanted to do it for months. I've been teasing it for months, and I keep backpedaling. Pretty much I've just been worried on how everybody's going to really take this video because I don't want it to be a debate. I don't want it to be super hateful or anything. I don't want anything like that to happen. This is a theory and this is a topic that I have wanted to just talk about and discuss for quite a while now. I even kind of looked it up here on YouTube and nobody really talks about it at all. There have been a couple tidbits here and there in some videos talking about where Foxy went, but nobody really talks about it in depth. Now this video is not meant to convince you guys that this is true. It's not meant to convince you guys that it's canon or anything. I'm not trying to force this onto anybody. This is just something that I really want to talk about because this has been a theory for a while, ever since Ruin, I believe. And I at least want to share my personal interpretation. I want to share how I see this whole thing play out, kind of give my own little, I don't know, fanfic backstory, whatever, like I did with Bonnie's decommission. If one of my other favorite creators, not real name, not at all, can do a Valentine's Day video on which animatronic is the best to go on a date with, I think I can make a video on why I think Roxy is trans. Also, no hate to that video, it is absolutely amazing, but it just kind of helped spark what I needed to continue on with this video. So yeah, just keep all that in mind. Just have fun with this video. Don't take it too seriously, even though it's something that I fully, agree with. Don't take it too seriously. So let's start at the beginning. Roxy was a fan favorite in the early days of Security Breach. All the artwork that Steelwood Studios had shared of her had fans going nuts. Her cool demeanor and the fact that she replaced Foxy, a longtime fan favorite of the series, was throwing everybody for a loop. I mean, everybody was screaming over Monty too, cause who was he, why the hell was he here, and where was Bonnie? But we've got priorities on this channel. And that does not include Monty. Once the game did release, however, Monty and Freddy were at the forefront of all the fans' affection. It seemed like all of a sudden people started to really not like Roxy, at all. She was mean, narcissistic, and self-obsessed, had no redeeming qualities, was too vain, unnecessarily nasty, all of that stuff. I mean, people still liked her, just not for the reasons you're thinking of. Throughout the game, Roxy is known to talk to herself. Your hair is beautiful, your tail is beautiful, your performance was perfect tonight, and so on and so forth. She constantly gives herself compliments and praises herself at any given moment. However, it's the way that she talks to herself that leaves a subtle clue that not all is well.
Your hair is beautiful. Your tail is beautiful. You are the best. Thank you. I am the best. I am the best.
She sounds pretty depressed, like she's trying to persuade herself that she's great. At one point, we can even find her in the dressing room crying because she hasn't been able to catch Gregory yet. Because of her insecurity, she feels the need to be a winner at all times. Always the best and always first place. Later on, after being shattered, the tone of Roxy's voice grows more desperate and frantic. Her inner thoughts are starting to get to her.
Everybody still loves me, right? I just need a little work done. I'm not a loser.
Her looks are completely destroyed, one of the main things that gave her so much confidence. And without her eyesight, she's at a greater disadvantage than either Chica or Monty. Chica got it pretty easy with only losing her voice, while Monty, even though he did lose his legs, he can still crawl around pretty fast. Roxy lost a main sense that, even if she can hear and smell pretty well, still leaves her to play a guessing game. We clearly see this in Ruin whenever she grabs Cassie's arm, thinking that it's Gregory, until Cassie cries out.
Give me back my eyes!
Ah! Let go! Let go!
I'm sorry. Error.
So what about her being mean? Why does she say things like, nobody will miss you and I bet you don't even have any friends? This is all likely due to the glitch trap virus that's coursing throughout the Pizzaplex. It's not her real personality. Ruin actually gives us hints to how she was supposed to act in the beginning. While going through Roxy Raceway, the cardboard cutouts in the AR world show how she helped Cassie out to be confident in herself on her birthday. She's happily looking at herself in the mirror with Roxy standing next to her, proud as can be. Roxy seems to have been optimistic and uplifting for the kids who came her way, encouraging them to be their best selves and happy with who they are no matter what. Her conversation with Cassie practically confirms this as she remembers her birthday and her favorite cake.
Welcome back, Cassie.
You remember me?
Your special day. I remember. Your special day. Do you still like carrot cake? If I remember correctly, it is on the 11th. I remember because you are number 1. Twice. I'm sure your friends will show up this time.
She knows what happened at Cassie's last birthday and tries her best to cheer her up despite the situation they are both currently in. It makes sense that someone who has self-image issues would take their anger and frustrations out on those around them due to this virus that is enhancing all those negative emotions. But why does she have self-image issues to begin with? There's no way that Fazbear Entertainment would, let this happen. That's a lie, they absolutely would. Why would Fazbear Entertainment program the self-confidence issues and anxiety that she has? It makes no sense if she's supposed to be a role model to all these kids. Well, Help Wanted 2 actually gives us a small hint as to what may have happened. In the Endo Warehouse minigame, we're sat in front of a glamrock endoskeleton with a visor on its head. Our task is to match the cards on the screen in front of us to teach the Endo while fending off the others in the room that are slowly coming towards the player. I say slowly, but guys, these little shits are fast. And I hate them so much. I hate them. They are creepy as hell. The narrator at the beginning of the level, though, is the most interesting part.
Welcome to the Playpen. Here, young animatronic endoskeletons learn how to associate with guests.
What?
Motivation chips encourage our youth to one day develop a personality and become the next Freddy, Chica, or TBD Pizzaplex star.
Essentially, we're training the Endos just enough for them to become sentient on their own and for them to develop their own personalities. It's unclear if the text just let the Endos do it themselves or if they specifically put, character chips, personality chips, and actually program this into the animatronics. Regardless of which is true, they clearly had the intention for Roxy's Endo to be a Foxy model instead. The community constantly argues over if Foxy went somewhere or if he ever existed in the first place. He clearly has a bit of popularity considering he's the face of Kids Cove and has merch scattered throughout the Pizzaplex, but his whereabouts have never been confirmed. While Ruin is centered around Cassie, Gregory, and the Mimic for the most part, Roxy is equally as important from the get-go. Being so important to the game's overall premise, it makes sense that they would give us a bit more into her backstory. Hidden behind the raceway is an area housing the old Cowboy Foxy log ride that was never completed. The area ends up leading to a boss fight with Monty in the flooded sections of the unfinished ride. But after defeating him and climbing up the drop hill, there are cardboard cutouts of Foxy and Chica along the walls. These are pretty cute. I really enjoy their designs. I think they're adorable. But right next to the door that leads to your next destination, there's a cake cutout right under the Roxy Raceway sign. You've been around long enough, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. We're talking about the trans cake. The cake cutout colors are bright blue, pink, and white. It's the exact same colors as the trans pride flag and almost in the same order. It's just missing an extra pink stripe towards the bottom. I understand this may not mean much of anything. It could just be these are the colors that they chose, this is how they decided to put it, this is where they decided to put it, who knows what was going through, the artists and the programmers and the level design, the entire team. Who knows what they were thinking at the time. But here's the thing. They did not have to choose those colors. They did not have to choose that placement of the cake cutout. They didn't have to make a cake cutout at all, but they did. There's not even a really good excuse to have it in this location other than maybe a nice little treat or something after an intense boss fight with Monty. The area that these cutouts are in is in a working area where riders for this potential log ride wouldn't be able to see. It was a deliberate choice on Steel Wool's part to put all of these here. Captain Fox's log ride and Help Wanted 2 also shows off the cake even more. It's literally in the ride like 3 times, and it's even the last target needed to access one of the secret memory plushes. And yes, this could just be Steel Wool reusing assets. That's not unheard of, that is not a bad thing to do. But I don't think that is 100% the case. Steel Wool was pretty good at taking criticism from the community and using it to make their next game better. With a lot of fans wondering where our good old pirate went, it makes sense that they would want to, let us know what the fuck happened. I think this is a case of both reusing the asset because they can, and also showing it off more to really get the point across. One of the biggest pieces of evidence, though, in my opinion, is actually the Roxy makeover minigames. In both the normal and shattered versions of the game, you have to keep an eye on Roxy while doing her makeup and putting on accessories. Look away too much and she'll jump scare you. This is Foxy's exact mechanic in previous games. Ever since the very first FNAF game back in 2014, Foxy has had this mechanic of needing to be watched to fend him off. Specifically in the first Help Wanted, his repair game has you keeping an eye on him while digging through drawers to fix him up. Roxy's games could just be a nod towards Foxy's from the first installment, but I think stacked up with everything else, it's just more evidence towards her being trans. So the smaller clues that I also wanted to mention are the kitty ride in Roxy's room and the description of one of the collectible ruins. Wow, what? And the description of one of the ruined collectibles. Let's start with the kitty ride. The kitty ride has the same trans pride colors as the cake, which is odd considering that the rest of her room is green, purple, and red. It looks a little bit out of place with the rest of the decor, despite being a motorcycle which is right up her alley. But I think this is just a small nod to her trans pride to keep in her room. The Golden Foxy collectible in Ruin doesn't really share much lore on the surface. It's an interesting description still. I guess he replaced more than his teeth. It's definitely odd, but I think this is supposed to be a comment on how she replaced her entire casing to become her true self instead. Foxy variants throughout the series have been no stranger to breaking gender norms. All the way back in FNAF 2, we got Mangle. Their gender was constantly debated on until Scott Cawthon confirmed it to simply be yes. While this could have been a troll answer at the time, it has stayed canon ever since. It's a similar story with Funtime Foxy as well, who has also been referred to as both he and she. The full gender has never been confirmed nor denied, but I personally believe this makes them gender fluid. From my understanding, Lolbit is also a gender, like a gender, not a gender, not a gender, specifically like a gender, like the word a gender. And even has a line in Ultimate Custom Night making a joke about the debate.
Oh, yeah, I can't run with worse than listening to people debate my gender.
With Roxy technically being the newest Foxy variant, it's not hard to see why she would join this group of gender outlaws. And if this is the case, then it makes sense why she has so many self-image issues. What I think happened is that once Roxy was sentient enough, the text made her into Foxy, or at least getting her ready for it. But at some point, she was able to communicate that she wasn't who they wanted her to be. I don't have a lot of real evidence for this next part, aside from the Golden Foxy plush, but this is just what my brain came up with while thinking about what may have happened. After going through the entire process of becoming Glamrock Foxy, Roxy wasn't happy whatsoever. She hated how she looked, how she sounded, how she was being presented entirely. Eventually, she was able to convince the techs and management to help her out. Her log ride wasn't complete yet, so it wouldn't be too much trouble to convert over to Roxy instead. The leftover space from the log ride was converted into Roxy Raceway and the marketing was switched over to the newest Glamrock. I'll be honest, I have no idea what's going on with Kids Cove. I genuinely cannot figure out what is going on with it, why it's there, why Foxy is still there. It's the only hole in the story that I cannot figure out. It's on the completely opposite side of the Pizzaplex from the Raceway, and it's literally the only area that Foxy is featured in. It doesn't really go with the daycare that's connected to it either, aside from being kid-friendly. I honestly have no idea what is going on with it, so we're gonna ignore that it exists for 2 seconds. I really hope we do get some confirmation of what the hell is going on with Kids Cove eventually, at some point, because I need to know. Long story short, I really do believe that there is enough evidence to convince us that Roxy was originally a Foxy model, but isn't anymore. As someone who's non-binary, I love Roxanne Wolf with all of my heart. And I love all the Foxy variants in general. The original Foxy has always been my absolute favorite throughout the entire 10 years almost that FNAF has been around. Seeing this iteration be symbolism or an allegory for trans people honestly makes my heart soar more than it did before. Honestly, once I figured that out, I just got really, really excited because we technically do have a Glamrock Foxy, but slightly not what we were expecting. Really not what we were expecting, to be honest. And I love her so much. She is an absolute queen. She is amazing. There is so much more to her than just the mean, nasty wolf that everybody seems to think she is. Everybody started loving her again once Ruin came around, but come on, guys. If you didn't love her at her worst, you don't deserve her at her best. I will say, though, I am very glad that I did not realize this whole theory or even any of it until after I'd already finished Ruin. If I had to go and kill Roxy, essentially, like if I had figured out she was trans first and then had to go and decommission her and kill her and everything, I would not have picked up the game again. There is a very high chance that I would have dropped the game and left it and just be like, nope, 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 nope. Because I already had to walk away during my playthrough of that because I was crying so hard. And I hadn't cried that hard since I had to kill papyrus in a genocide run 8 years ago. So Roxy gets all the hugs and cuddles because she's a queen who deserves it. All in all, I think most people can agree that Roxy is more than just the vain and mean animatronic that she poses as. Under her cold hard casing is someone who struggles with her self-worth and wants to help others gain confidence as well. She truly cares about her friends and the kids she leaves an impact on. She's someone who desperately needs therapy. There is probably a very good reason as to why I bought into her the most out of all the glam rocks. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking around, and hopefully you enjoy this new kind of editing thing I'm doing. I don't plan to be on video too often going on in the future, but I just want to try something out, try to mix my little PNG character along with me. So we'll see how this works out. We'll see how it goes in editing and all of that. Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Just don't be a dick about it. You could disagree and that's fine. But if I see any sort of like transphobic remarks, oh my god, it is over for you. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff. If the baby is the Night Force suit video did not ruin my career, this video might. I could also go into why I think Cassie is autistic, but we're not gonna get into that right now. That is a whole ass other discussion. So, bye!